So, the lungs. One of the most vital organs in my opinion, after the brain and the heart. And you know what? Because I have to revise for it. And I thought making videos is good. For revision, we're going to revise it together. So let's go. So to start off, let's label some parts, shall we? So we've got the trachea, obviously. That's the windpipe for the layman. And we have the left and the right lung. Now do notice that they have different shapes. The left has 2 lobes, whilst the right has 3 lobes. Now some of you are going to disagree on how I'm going to call those. I'm going to call them the superior lobe, both on the right and the left, and the inferior lobes for the ones on the bottom. Now I know Americans call it upper and lower lobes, but I go to British school, so deal with it. And on the right, we have a special lobe called the middle lobe. Now these lobes are separated by things we call fissures. See that line? That's what we call a fissure. Now there are a couple of different fissures on the lungs. On the left, there's only 1, but on the right, there are 2. Obviously, it's an oblique angle, so these ones are called the oblique fissures, and they produce the inferior lobes. However, on the right, we also have an additional fissure, and this is called the horizontal lobe. I wish all anatomical terminology was this easy. So that's almost the basics of the lungs done, but do you see a little notch, a little gaping hole in the left lung? Now that gaping hole, it's not there when you take the lung out, it's really there only when the lung is in situ. And that is due to the heart, and we call it the cardiac notch. So let us move on and see how we actually breathe. So imagine a lung as being two different states. One when it's when it's inhaling, and the other one when it's exhaling. The way the basic structure and the basic method the lungs work is by having a change in volume. When we try to breathe in, our muscles in our ribs will pull our lungs outwards and outwards. This causes the volume to increase. And this in turn causes the pressure in our lungs to drop compared to the outside atmosphere. Why is that important? Well, think of it like being on top of a mountain. The air is thin, isn't it? It's harder to breathe. That is relevant because it's got low pressure. And just like how a vacuum cleaner sucks in air, our lungs do the same thing. It takes in, it creates a temporary vacuum per se, and that literally sucks in the air for us. And the air goes through the windpipe, aka the trachea, through to our lungs through the bronchus. Alright, so to be honest, that's pretty much all there is about lungs in terms of breathing. I'm joking. It's the only part we're done with in terms of muscles. Inhalation is really the only part where the muscles are actively involved. That involves the intercostals, the diaphragm, as well as your abdomens to an extent. Next time when we come back, we're going to move on to some of the other factors that affect the lungs. And to give a sneak preview, we're going to be using a gigantic diagram of a green lung. Why? It's easy to draw. Hee hee.